I'm just waiting for the clock to strike 3-0.
There it is.
There it is at 3-0. I would like to welcome everyone to our regular meeting of the Board of Aldermen. We'll stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. We'll have prayer of Alderman Vaughn and then a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let us pray. Most holy, all wise, all knowing, all powerful, all seeing, all hearing, all understanding God. Father God, again, here's a few handmaid servants that you allowed your angels to watch over all day long. And you pierced our heart and appointed us back to this place. A place of handling business where you elected all and selected all to handle the affairs of this city. We ask you now, Father God, that most of all, that you would please forgive us of all our sin to make us worthy to stand and call upon your name. Ask you for guidance and direction, how to lead and guide your people. And blessing us not to lean and depend on our own understanding, but we will look to you for knowledge, wisdom, and understanding how to lead and guide these people and yours. We thank you for the privilege that you give us to be able to handle the affairs of this city. But we ask you now, God, that you will bless us in every city we make, that will glorify you. We ask you that you fill this place with your Holy Spirit, that we all will conduct ourselves decent and in order. You said in your word, always do things decent and in order. Do things in a Christ-like way. We thank you because you said you'll never leave us, nor would you forsake us. And Father God, we leaning and depending on you because you are the Almighty, all wise, all knowing, all powerful, all seeing, all hearing, all understanding God. You're the God that rules and super rules. Now we ask you that you will take control of this meeting and rule it the way that you want it to be ruled. We give all praise and honor and glory to you. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right, we thank you all for being here. We'll go into our first order of business, which will be approval of the official agenda. Do we have any requested changes to the consent agenda? Alderman Little.
Under planning, item 11.2D, I'd like to remove.
Under planning, item 2D, you'd like to remove that one from the agenda? Do we hear any objections? Any objections? Okay, we will move that item from the agenda. Any other changes to the consent agenda? Or any other changes to the agenda?
Mayor?
Yes, Alderman Miller.
I'd like to add under board business, item E, consideration of approving the revised personnel policy manual to the consent agenda.
Okay. Anyone have any objection to that?
No objection. Just ask the city attorney, you've reviewed that document and you were comfortable with right on that document?
I've not reviewed the whole document. At the direction of the mayor and Mr. Ashford, I've reviewed sections of the document that they thought were particularly pertinent, and I did review those and those checked out.
Thank you.
All right. Seeing no objection, we will add that to the consent agenda. Any other items that anyone wants to add to the consent agenda? Okay. Seeing none, I need a motion for approval of the official agenda with the consent agenda, or with the agenda and the consent agenda as...
May I be recognized before you do that, Mayor?
Vice Mayor, sir.
Mayor, I'd like to add one item at the end of the agenda. I want to add a personnel matter for executive session for discussion tonight. Okay. Personnel matter.
All right. All right, we have under item 14, executive session, we will add item A, personnel. Okay. With that change, any others?
So moved.
Okay. I have a motion from Alderman Little. Need a second?
Second.
Second from Alderman Miller. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay. We have now, well, I need to read the consent agenda items. So I've got me some water here, and I will begin. First, item 4, approval of the Board of Aldermen minutes. We have consideration of the minutes of the September 19th, 2017 meeting of the Mayor and Board of Aldermen of the City of Starkville. Consideration of the minutes of the October 3rd, 2017 meeting of the Mayor and Board of Aldermen of the City of Starkville. Mayor's Business A, we have consideration and approval of a resolution requesting the Mississippi Legislature extend the funding of the 2% food and beverage tax for the city of Starkville until June 30th, 2022. Item B, consideration of the approval of the engagement letter from Watkins, Ward, and Stafford for the fiscal year 2017 audit for the city of Starkville. C, consideration of approving the 4-year Starkville capital improvement project plan for streets, parking, and drainage projects. E, consideration of paying agent agreement with Whitney Bank, DBA Hancock Bank for the Series 2017 $7 million general obligation taxable development bonds. Under 10 Board Business, Item A, consideration of a resolution declaring the intention of the Mayor and Board of Aldermen of the City of Starkville, Mississippi to issue general obligation public improvement bonds of the municipality, issue a general obligation public improvement bond of the municipality for sale to the Mississippi Development Bank, or enter into a loan agreement with the Mississippi Development Bank, all in the maximum principal amount of $7,500,000 in one or more series to raise money for the purpose of establishing sanitary, storm, drainage, or sewage systems, and repairing, improving, and extending the same, protecting the municipality, its streets and sidewalks from overflow, caving banks, and other like dangers, planning, constructing, improving, or paving streets, sidewalks, driveways, parkways, walkways, or public parking facilities, and purchasing land therefore, and/or purchasing street traffic control devices and signalization, constructing bridges and culverts, altering or changing the channels of streams and watercourses to control, deflect, or guide the current thereof, directing publication of notice of such intention and related purposes. B, consideration of a resolution authorizing and approving the engagement of certain professionals to assist with the issuance of general obligation public improvement bonds in one or more series of the City of Starkville, Mississippi, in the maximum principal amount of $7,500,000 to raise funds for the authorized purposes and for related purposes. C, consideration of bidding out any and all asphalt work relating to the city's 4-year capital improvement plan pursuant to Mississippi Code annotated section 31713 sub C. D, consideration of asking the Personnel Director to conduct salary pay analysis of the employment positions with the City of Starkville and provide a report to the Mayor and Board of Aldermen on December 19th, 2017. E, consideration of approving the revised Personnel Policy Manual. Under Department Business, Community Development B, consideration of directing the staff to obtain bids within for demolition, debris removal, and relocation of infrastructure for the property located at 100 East Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Drive and present bids at the February 6, 2018 Board of Aldermen meeting. Under Planning, A, discussion and consideration of VA 17-16, a request by SER LLC for variance relief from sidewalk requirements on a lot located plus or minus 250 feet east of Industrial Park Road on the north side of Sproul Industrial Park Road in an M1 zone with a parcel number 102N-00-005.01. B, discussion and consideration to approve with condition the special events request for the 2017 Christmas Parade event with in-kind services to be held Friday, November 27th, 2017. C, discussion and consideration of the 2017 Mississippi Championship Steak Cook-Off and have city participation with in-kind services on November the 18th, 2017, with the condition that proof of insurance be provided. Under Courts, Item 1, consideration to extend services with LexisNexis to provide that Starkville Municipal Court with access to the Mississippi Code and legal research from 11/1/2017 through 10/31/2020 at a rate of $321 per month. Under Engineering, 1, request approval for Cody Burnett to participate in the Educational Assistance Program for the fall 2017 semester to take master's level courses in civil engineering with a total reimbursement cost not to exceed $1,500. Under Finance and Administration, 1, request approval of the City of Starkville claims docket for all departments, including Starkville Utilities Department as of October the 31st, 2017 for fiscal year ending 9/30/18, acknowledging that the city clerk has attested and certified on the cover of the claims docket that all claims on the docket are true, accurate, lawful, and proper to the best of her knowledge for payment pursuant to her duties under Mississippi Code Sections 21-39-5, 21-39-7, 21-39-17, and 21-15-21. Number 2, request authorization to advertise for general source of supply bids for all departments within the City of Starkville for the period January 1, 2018 through June 30th, 2018. Under the Fire Department, Item 1, request authorization to engage JMCM Consulting to prepare a project plan and application for the 2017 Assistance to Firefighter Grant Program at a fee of 5% of the federal grant amount to be paid from city funds. Under Personnel, item 1, consideration of approval to advertise to fill a firefighter position in the Starkville Fire Department and authorization to advertise for 3 part-time certified firefighters. 2, consideration of approval to advertise for a part-time secretary in the Sanitation and the Environmental Services Department. 3, consideration of approval to advertise for a temporary full-time code enforcement officer position in the Community Development Department. 4, consideration of approval to advertise for a vacant part-time intern position for the Finance and Administration Department. 5, consideration of approval to hire Bethany Allen Weeks and Stephen Lane as entry-level firefighters in the Starkville Fire Department. Request authorization to retain candidate Calvin Waters from the selection process held on October 10th, 2017 for consideration to fill any additional vacant position in the firefighter classification due to retirements, terminations, or approved additions to the fire department within a period of 90 days. 6, consideration of approval to hire Christy Rogers as the Executive Administrative Assistant in the Starkville Utilities Department. 7, consideration of approval to hire Tanner Stewart as an apprentice lineman in the Starkville Utilities Department. 8, consideration of approval to hire Tamika Harris as the payroll collector clerk in the Starkville Utilities Department. 9, consideration of approval to hire Derek Birchfield, Ninji Robinson, and Eli Seabrooks as maintenance workers in Utilities Water Department. 10, consideration of approval to hire Jared Rabin as the airport operations manager in the Starkville Airport Department. Consideration of approval to hire Jacqueline Posley as the processing clerk in the Community Development Department. Under Utilities, item 3 is request authorization for Robbie Gilliland to travel to Jackson, Tennessee to attend TVPPA Line Worker Troubleshooting Lab 5 on December 4th through the 8th, 2017, at a total cost not to exceed $1,820 with advanced travel. Item 4, request authorization for Starkville Utilities to accept the lowest and best quote and purchase 5 69 kV potential transformers to address sync check issues with MSU generation and to provide accurate fault locating information from Garner Lumley for a total price of $28,350. And that concludes the consent agenda.
Mayor,
Yes, sir.
under planning, item 2B,
Okay.
it should be Monday, November 27th, not Friday.
I'm sorry. Okay, hang on. Let me roll back over here with you.
Parade.
Oh, okay, you're absolutely right, it should be, thank you for noticing that. All right, under the consent agenda item, I read Friday, under planning 2B, it should be Monday, November 27th, 2017, for the Christmas parade. It's always the first Monday after Thanksgiving.
Did these two get officially pulled?
Nope, I don't believe they did. We'll do that as we get to them. Okay, you're absolutely correct. Okay. Mixing with that. And I have several comments and announcements that I have the privilege of making. One of them, let me introduce first our new employee, Mr. Chris Gregory, police officer for the Starkville Police Department. Chris Gregory is originally from Hannibal, Missouri, and moved to Starkville in January of 2017. He's a graduate of Hannibal LaGrange University with a degree in criminal justice. When Chris isn't working as a police officer for the city of Starkville, he is the youth minister at the Way Community Church in Louisville, Mississippi. Chris enjoys playing sports, being outdoors, and spending time with his family. Please join me in welcoming Chris. Thank you, Chief. Okay. Also, I get to recognize some folks. From a Parks Department standpoint, we have awards that the Starkville Parks and Recreation Department received at the Mississippi Recreation, whatever that, MRPA. What does that stand for, Herman? Okay, I should have figured that out, shouldn't I? Mississippi Recreation Park Association. We got an award for Recreation Programming Award of Merit by the City of Starkville Youth Basketball League. The award is to recognize any agency represented by an MRPA member for public recreation programming, including specific recreational innovative program. Areas are related to senior adult recreation, wellness, programs for teens, athletics, aquatics, arts and crafts, drama, camps, nature and outdoor programs, and many other aspects of recreation. And then the second award was an award of excellence in special events programming. The winner is the City of Starkville Youth Basketball Championships. The award is given to recognize any agency represented by an MRPA member for excellence in sports programming, which includes general and specific innovative sports programs. Special events in sports programming occur 1 to 3 days in length, and the areas are related to special games, championship events, exhibition games, events dedicated to fitness and play, opening ceremonies, other tournaments, for example, golf or frisbee, ultimate frisbee, or additional events that are strictly sports related. So congratulations on both of those awards. And then we have the fire department. And as I'm sure everyone is aware, we had a fire on the 26th of October, Thursday night, and it was a fire at Building O at the Avalon Apartments. And Chief Yarber, there you are, has asked me to recognize the folks who were instrumental in making sure that all the people who lived in that building got out of that building and were able to get to safety. And the names of those people are Mr. Kyle McCullough, Michael McCullough, Colby Carpenter, and Tim Rice. Are they with us? And Chief, you were going to present them with something, were you not? If y'all would come down. Oh, of course. And the fire department, both of our emergency services departments. And who's Kim? Or who's Kyle? I'm sorry. Kyle and Michael?
He's not here.
He's not here? Okay. And then Colby and Tim? All right. Thank you so much. Chief, you want to make your presentation?
We present them with a challenge form from the Starkville Fire Department.
Okay.
We don't give out unless you do something really good. So.
Okay, and they did something really good. So thank you all so much. It's people like you who help make the community so strong. We really appreciate what you did.
Without them, several people probably lost their lives. So.
Yes, exactly. As it was just property loss.
Mayor, before they leave, would you just tell the audience just a little bit more about these gentlemen? They're in the Sunday's paper in case some may have been out of town or something. They really did some great things. Would you give them a little bit more facts about these two men?
I would be happy to, but I have given the only facts I know. So, gentlemen, Chief, do you have some more information?
I do. On the night of the structure fire, they actually woke up, went to everybody's door, and got everybody out the top floor. Without them, they said we had several fatalities. Mr. Rice and Brian Monroe, they went home, saw the fire, pulled in, and got one of the disabled people out.
I followed them in to make sure the invalid lady got out, and as I was exiting, there was a blind lady standing in the stairwell, and I let her out.
Outstanding.
Excellent job.
Yes, that is wonderful, and thank you so much for doing that. Thank you, Vice Mayor.
You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you
gentlemen.
all.
Thank you.
We greatly appreciate you. And I believe that is the end of my announcements. Do anyone on the board have anything to make any comments about? Alderman Miller?
May I be recognized?
Of course.
My question is I have a question for the police chief, actually, Chief, if you don't mind. I just wanted to be sure for this big weekend on Friday night, Saturday night, especially in the Cotton District and downtown, we're going to have police on their feet down there to prevent loitering and other things going on in the Cotton District with the big crowd.
Well, as you know, we're responsible for the whole city.
Yeah, and I understand that.
We do have a hotspot grant that will be down there.
Right.
You know, but if we get called somewhere else now, we can't just.
That I understand. Yeah.
Yes, sir. But we definitely have all the personnel out that we normally have out, plus probably a little bit more. We realize this is a big game. We realize that the last report we got that they are staying at the hotel here at the Marriott, so we definitely want to provide the best security we can.
Okay.
But as far as the hotspot grant, but the personnel go from Main Street to the Cotton District.
Right.
We can't just sit in the Cotton District, so we go from this whole block.
Right. Yeah.
Are they staying in the, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to step on you.
No, you're fine, Mayor. Go ahead.
No, I'm just going to, are they staying Saturday night as well? At the Marriott?
Not sure. I'm not sure. I doubt it.
Okay. I didn't expect them to, but when you said that, I thought I'd ask. So.
Yeah, and I certainly understand y'all got the whole city. I just know that is a very big congregating, obviously, area, and so it just becomes a concern. I know we had it, obviously, with Bulldog Bash, we had a huge crowd out there, and I know we're just expecting a big crowd again. So I just wanted to ask the question. And as the mayor knows, I mean, after we beat Alabama, we had a big crowd out there.
Absolutely.
We're trying to prepare ourselves for it, but I'm pretty sure there's going to be people everywhere. But
Yes.
the people that usually sign up for the hotspot grant, they work Main Street
Okay.
as well as the Cotton District, and they just kind of go from place to place.
Very well.
Depends on whether they need it.
very well. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Anyone have any questions of Chief? Okay, thank you. Any other comments?
Would anybody like to speak to the GO public improvement bonds? I mean, just such a big matter to y'all, or the budget chair? I mean,
Oh, okay, sure. Sandra, would you like to speak to the?
I'd love to. We proposed issuing $7.5 million in general obligation bonds that will be used for streets and drainage, traffic improvements, parking lot improvements, including the city parking lot downtown, some parks, parking lots that are in need of attention. And there is a list that we can make available if anyone wants to see a copy of the list of projects. The city engineers made that presentation to us before. It's about 20 miles of streets, and they are high-usage streets. I believe Mr. Kemp told me that he felt like over the course of a 24-hour travel cycle that 80 to 90% of the people of Starkville who are out and driving will drive on one of these streets as we go about our business each day. But there's a list of projects. We will make that available. I've talked to at least one person that wanted a copy of the list of projects, and I've gotten that for them. But we can post that online if that would make it easier for people to access it, or get in touch with me, the mayor's office. We'll be glad to provide you with additional detailed information.
Sure, and we'll just make sure it's posted on the website. Joel, you'll take care of that? Thank you so much. Okay. Anyone else?
And I'll actually be recognized again if I
Okay,
could, Mayor.
sure. No.
I wanted, and if we're able to move forward with all of that and capital improvement plan, even up to this point, I did want to thank Ed Kemp and his team. I think they've done a really great job in working with the Aldermen, getting that list together, and I know that's a big thing for y'all to get together and be able to present on Friday. So thank y'all, and keep up the good work. Appreciate it.
And I left out probably the most important part of this, and that is that we are looking, we have not decided exactly how we're going to structure those bonds, but the options that are available to us will let us structure that debt so that we fold it into our existing revenue streams. We have debt that's rolling off, and then some capital projects that we've been funding on an annual basis that will cover the debt service for those bonds.
Okay, thank you. And Alderman Carter, thank you for doing that. Okay. All right. If there's no other comments from the board, we will move into citizen.
Mayor, could we get these cell phone devices turned off so we can comply with our policy? We don't allow this in here.
If you would please silence, all cell phones silenced, please. Check them, just in case. Thank you. We will move into citizens' comments, and under citizen comments, you have 3 minutes to make comments about whatever topics that you like. So anyone who wishes to come ahead. And Mr. Turner coming from the back. I wondered where you were.
Good evening to the mayor and board. My name is Alvin Turner, Ward 7. I want to recognize the mayor, the vice mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Turner.
Alderman Vaughn.
Thank you, Mayor.
Alderman Little, and Alderman Walker.
Thank you.
That's the president of the NACP as well. It's getting almost to the end of the year. Landon got a birthday coming up on the 24th. Be 58 years old, and never thought I'd live that long with my condition. But with my brother's death, seeing that we have some family members that involved, so Chief, I'll be hanging close to you just protection. The citizens has a few concerns. They're getting irritable about the harassment of the mayor. I know the mayor race over with is very harassing to the people that someone is continuing to harass or try to prove that something's wrong. They wish that we would just take the loss and do what we can with what we got. Also, it brought to my attention that the fire hydrant on Reed Road, if you're coming from 182, it would be on the left. Water is running from it, and they just wanted me to bring that to your attention. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Turner. All right, next, whoever would like to come next, just not run over one another. If you would identify yourself, and we actually have a sign-in sheet up there, if you wouldn't mind signing in. We're kind of anticipating there might be a lot of folks here, and we want to make sure we keep track, so if you don't mind.
Mr. Mayor, I'm Rob Leach. Thank you so much for the opportunity to speak for just a minute. This, I put a letter in front of y'all, and with your permission, I'll just read from the letter, and then if you have any questions or whatnot, I'd love to do that for just a minute if I have a minute left. This letter actually speaks to two of the things on your agenda tonight. One is the $7.5 million bond issue that I had hoped would help remedy some of our terrible sport problems in Starkville. I see we've already earmarked it for streets and roads, which I know everybody is a priority for everyone as well. The other thing it speaks to is the 2% sales tax, which was originally I and a group of thousands of soccer moms and dads and baseball moms and dads 25 years ago with Vic Zitta's support as the alderman at large, and we went to alderman meetings and we got together and got a 2% sales tax passed to build a sportsplex. It was for capital improvements, desperately needed for our kids. And now we're asking for just maybe a portion of that back to renovate even a soccer and a baseball field a year. In 10 years, we could have, if we had 1 month of that money back every year, we could actually have tournament-ready facilities. So let me just read this real quickly. I've probably used half my time already, but just a decade ago, I finished 5 years of service as club president of Starkville Soccer. Saw us host nearly 3 tournaments a year, including 3 state tournaments, as well as twice hosting U.S. Olympic Development South Region camps, during which all soccer facilities at the Sportsplex, Starkville High School, MSU, were busy hosting 2,000 campers and their families for over 2 weeks. We served over 600 youth players in regular soccer play 10 months of the year. We had built in the 1990s using the 2% restaurant sales tax. The fields were in pristine shape back then, and we could play even when it was raining, and we did that. We hosted tournaments during the rain, and everything was fine. We only had to delay games if there was lightning. I'm going to skip this and not read it to you to spare you. Now it's no longer that way. Now we have to call, and I have kids playing, grandkids I should say, playing both baseball and soccer. We have to check the Parks and Rec website that morning if it rains to find out if we can practice that night. It's totally different. You can't just throw sand on these fields to fix the fact that when they were built, they weren't drained properly. We've lost our crown on our fields. Any coach that comes says, hey, can we play in Oxford or Tupelo? Okay.
Sorry. Thank you.
I've got it here.
We've got the letter. And,
Thank you.
And let me say that we are not going to neglect the parks. It's going to be part of the program coming up very shortly.
Thank you.
Okay.
Appreciate y'all.
All right. Thank you. All right.
Good evening.
Good evening. Fine, thank you.
Good. My name is Tyler McMurray. I am the Student Association President at Mississippi State University. To those of you I haven't met yet, I look forward to doing it in the future. I'm here just to express the student support for the renewal of the 2% tax. We are so grateful for all the things that we've been able to do with that money and to believe that it will continue to build a bridge between the MSU community and the Starkville community. And I, with permission to approach, have Resolution 26, which was passed by 73 different senators that represent the student body, just expressing our support.
Thank you so much for that, and we will be submitting that to the legislature very shortly, that along with all the other areas of support that we have. So
thank you so much.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Any other citizen comments? Ma'am? Okay, thank you. Oops, I'm sorry. Okay, go ahead.
My name is Mary Carr, and I'm the pastor of Antioch Church, and I have a letter that I would like to read. This plan of action letter is being written for your information concerning the Antioch Church. The church has been the pillar of this community for over 105 years and has helped many in the community of Starkville. It has served in the capacity of helping the mentally and physically challenged, elderly, feeding the hungry, giving clothes to the needy, paying light bill, gas bill, rent, and help victims who are sick and are burned out. But most of all, we have and still are teaching the Word of God so that individuals will make a change if they are convinced in their hearts. This church has served as a catalyst for many gospel groups in this area and surrounding areas to have singing programs such as the Traveling Stars, the Mighty Travelers, the Golden Gates, the Artesia Jubilees, the Melody Kings, Spiritual Swan, Lewis Family, Bland Family, Angelette's, Heavenly Voices, and many others. The most famous groups are the Five Blind Boys of Alabama, the Gospel Songbirds of Tennessee, the Canton Spiritual, William Brothers of Jackson, Mississippi, and Lee Williams, only to name a few. We are a small congregation that has stood the test of times and continue to be faithful to the cause of Christ. We have had many workshops to help hurting people to recover their spirits. We strive to educate and motivate and help people to live their best lives, and that takes time, patience, faith, and much prayer. There has always been a longing and a heart desire to fix the church, but due to death of members, decrease in the membership, and lack of financial support, we find ourselves in this situation at hand. Plan of action include: we will concentrate on addressing critical infrastructure upgrades to transform the building to better accommodate members and future members to ensure the soundness and stability of the roof. On yesterday, we had a meeting, which was the 11th of 5th, 2017 at the City Hall at 9 o'clock with Mr. J.B. Lyles, Barbara Coates, Buddy Sanders, Libby Gerald, Joel Downey, and Janet Mullins, Brenda Williams, and Mary Carr to discuss options and what the church is facing with this code violation. The roof issue. There has been a group that has stepped forward that said they would help. They did not want me to name their names tonight. And so I talked to them this morning. So they would like to remain anonymous. We are to meet with them to see what all is involved as soon as possible. We are in the process of getting permits, donation. We have implemented some programs and put them in place for financial flow. This church overall strategy will be based on a continuing improvement to facilitate further growth and progress. Thank you.
Mayor, I recognize
Vice Mayor, go ahead.
Pastor Carr. Will you please remain in the boardroom until after we discuss the agenda item?
Okay.
And before you leave, while I have this opportunity, have you given us your address for the record? Could you give us your address for the record, your mailing address for the church, your official mailing address? Could you dictate
it's
that?
Antioch Church, Post Office Box 712, Starkville, Mississippi 39760.
And you are the pastor of the church? Okay. Mayor, if she would just remain here until we get to, until we get to the agenda item, please.
Yes, thank you.
And
Thank
the
you,
letter's in the folder.
Thank you, Pastor. Okay, do we have any more citizens' comments? Any more citizen comments? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to next item on the agenda, which will be, once I turn it back over. We have two public appearances tonight. First public appearance is Chris Ayers from Starkville in Motion. He will be outlining and presenting the organization's programs for the city of Starkville. Mr. Ayers, we have 10 minutes, and I have a stopwatch.
I don't think I need to.
Okay, all right.
First of all, thank you for letting me speak here tonight. My first appearance in front of you. Some of you may be familiar with Starkville in Motion as an organization. Some of you may not be. Over the years, we have sort of waxed and waned in our membership. Our overall objectives have still remained the same in terms of trying to promote healthy living, infrastructure that allows citizens of Starkville to be physically active. That means cycling, riding bikes, walking, running, using the outdoor spaces that we have, including our parks. And so we have done things in terms of applying for grants that have allowed us to get money to build, for example, the multi-use path down on Lynn Lane was a project that Starkville in Motion was a big part of. And we've also gotten smaller grants in order to put together programs that collaborate with our school system for walk-to-school days with elementary and middle schools. And so that's been our main objective. And in the future, we are looking for more collaboration and potential projects that we can be a part of to help the city and our other community organizations to, again, try and get Starkville to feel like they can remain active outdoors, be a healthy community. And so those are our main objectives, and we look forward to increased membership, different ideas, new ideas, ways that we can collaborate with the city and with local other community organizations. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Excuse me, Mr. Ayers, right?
Yes.
Do y'all have a social media presence?
We do. We are on Facebook, and we have a website.
Okay, very well.
So starkvilleinmotion.org is our website.
Okay, all right, very well. Thank you.
What is your membership?
Currently, it's around four active members, I would say. Every time we seem to reach out and try and get our members to come and go to an outreach event or one of our parks events like we recently held at Jail King, we just don't get much feedback. So we're always looking for new members.
Building.
Yes.
Okay.
So can you explain to me, what's it mean to be a member?
So to be a member of Starkville in Motion would mainly mean that you are trying to reach out to the community at some of these parks and events, and we try and go to events that the city or other community organizations already plan, and we try and promote health and safety. So especially with things like walking on streets or bicycling, we try and promote safe use of those spaces. Trying to increase awareness of people that may be using those spaces and how people are using those spaces. So it's really about not only bringing in new ideas, but being willing to go out and do those outreach events and promote ideas that we already have.
Anyone else? Thank you
you.
so much.
Thank you.
And we appreciate your involvement in the community.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, our next public appearance is Pastor Stone from the Second Baptist Church speaking on the church construction project. Pastor Stone? And you have a PowerPoint presentation?
Yes.
Okay, and I understand this is a rather emotional issue, so I am hopeful that we won't have to gavel anyone down, so let's...
I'm sure we won't.
Okay, good.
Well,
So,
first of all,
please.
thank you, Honorable Mayor Spruill, to our Aldermen. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. Before I speak any further, I would like to show the presentation, and after that, have a few words for...
Okay, you have 10 minutes, whatever you would like to do with it.
This is the word that you've been waiting for all night. Darn word. How do you know that God is able to do exceedingly abundantly above
reason I wanted to show that presentation first because I believe that a picture is worth 1,000 words. A lot of words have been in the news media, television, print, social media concerning the Second Baptist Church situation. But I think if you look at that video and see the people in that presentation, is a lot different from what you read in the newspaper, from what you saw in the news, and maybe what you've seen on social media. We'll have to continue with our philosophy of ministry, which is upreach, inreach, and outreach. Even in the past 2 years with the building construction project in litigation, we have still had 2016, 57 members to join our church, 23 baptisms. So far this year, we've had 28 members to join our church, 10 baptisms. And if you do church growth research, it will show you that mainline denominations are shrinking. Well, Second Baptist is bucking that trend. And so I'm simply asking that the board be considerate of the members of that church. We are in litigation. We do know something needs to be done with the construction project. I'm asking as pastor, if you will allow me, we have a serious business meeting in December 10th. Allow me to place it on the agenda and let the congregation decide whether or not to apply for a building permit or whether or not to cover, as has been proposed, to put down grass seeds, hay, or whatever. But again, we still have 2 services. So far, we've given away over 400 bicycles to Starkville elementary schools. Getting ready to do our bike drive again. We've given away new uniforms to school elementary schools. So we are still doing church. We're still having church. And the people here, if they had the opportunity to speak, I'm sure they would agree with me that people are still coming. We're simply asking that as a church, I think that the church that has been here this long could use a little grace. And under my leadership, I think I've continued what Second Baptist has been doing in the community. So I'm asking that the board will give us some grace, allow this to be placed on an agenda at a December 10th meeting, and allow the congregation to decide whether to apply for a building permit or to do what has been advised by, I think, the planning committee as far as leveling out the dirt, putting down grass seeds, and some hay. We are a faith-based institution. And for me, the 66 books of the Bible are full of stories where when it looks like God's people are at their worst, that's when God is at his best. So our theme for this year has been, he's able. And I'm still believing that. And I think God is continuing to show that through what he's doing through our ministry. And whatever the board decides, we're still going to do what we're supposed to do as a church. So thank you for allowing me to come. Again, I say a picture's worth 1,000 words. And if you put that in your presence, I think that speaks volumes to who we are as a church and what we've been able to accomplish with all the negative attention that we've gotten. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Pastor Stone. Thank you. Okay. All right. We have next a public hearing. This will be our first public hearing to amend the smoking ordinance 2008-08 as amended by ordinance 2017-7, City of Starkville Code of Ordinances, Chapter 82, Article 4, Code Section 8291 et sec, to include an indoor smoking exemption. Will be 15 minutes on each side, pro and con, and I would like to ask that those who wish to speak to it speak solely to what this exemption is about, or solely to this element of the ordinance, which is the indoor smoking exemption. So anyone who wishes to speak to that is free to do so now. We'll start with those who are against this agenda item, or this proposed change to the ordinance. Anyone wishing to speak against the proposed change to the ordinance? Okay, seeing no one. Oh, I'm sorry. Can't linger. I'm going to move along. Yes, against the proposed change, which would include an indoor smoking exemption.
Well, good evening. Mayor Spruill, Vice Mayor Perkins, members of the board. My name is Allison Tiffin. I am a long-time resident of Starkville, Mississippi. On behalf of the American Cancer Society and the American Cancer Society Cancer Action Network, I'm here to express our opposition of amending the Starkville smoke-free ordinance to include an indoor smoking exception for retail tobacco and electronic cigarette stores. With the passage of the original smoke-free ordinance, Starkville set the health and wellness bar high for all other Mississippi towns. That includes Tupelo, Oxford, and even beyond the state. As a healthy hometown winner, Starkville will not be leading by example if this exception is allowed. Everyone has the right to breathe clean, smoke-free, and aerosol-free air, regardless of where they work, and no one should have to choose between their health and a good job. During the last public hearings, I think we were all touched by the stories from the vaping industry about how e-cigarettes have helped so many people quit combustible tobacco. And as I stated, the last 2 public hearings, e-cigarettes are not an FDA-approved form of nicotine replacement therapy. The real issue about e-cigarettes is that more and more young people are starting to vape. According to the 2016 Surgeon General's report, e-cigarettes are now the most commonly used tobacco product among young people. In Mississippi, over 23% of our high school students use e-cigarettes. According to a recent study that was published in the Journal of American College Health, e-cigarette use among college students is exponentially on the rise. Research has shown that youth who use e-cigarettes are more likely to go on to use other tobacco products.
Excuse me. I'm hearing some in the back there, please. If you would, take your phone out. Okay.
So as I was saying, research has shown that youth who use e-cigarettes are more likely to go on to use other tobacco products such as regular cigarettes. We are a college town, and the obligation to protect the health and well-being of our community, our youth, far outweighs the need to cater to a few.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's okay.
Go ahead.
Allowing retail tobacco at electronic cigarette stores to smoke and or vape inside completely undermines clean indoor air as defined for all public places. There is a simple solution. Don't allow this exception. Don't weaken Starkville's model smoke-free air ordinance. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, anyone else wishing to speak against the proposed change to the ordinance?
Mayor Pruitt.
Yes, ma'am.
Vice Mayor Perkins.
Thank you.
Board. My name is Yolanda Pruitt, and I'm with the Mississippi Tobacco Free Coalition of Oktibbeha, Clay, and Lowndes. I basically just want to say a smoke-free ordinance is actually put into place to protect non-smokers. That's why it is there, to help people and protect them from secondhand smoke so that they do not have to breathe it in. So actually including exception into the current ordinance could possibly weaken it. And my only thing that I would like to say is definitely take into consideration the language that you could use with your ordinance, because it can actually weaken your ordinance. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Pruitt. Anyone else wishing to speak against the change to this ordinance? Okay, seeing no one, anyone who would like to speak in favor of making this exception?
Mayor, Vice Mayor, Board, good to see you again. My name is Joseph Finfinger, owner of 1810 Vapors here in Starkville. Tonight I won't stand here and give you facts and statistics or try to convince you that vaping is the safer alternative to smoking. Tonight I want to come to you from the business owner's perspective. I've been in Starkville doing business for over a year now. I've watched my business grow so much in this time it amazes me, and I really don't want that to stop. Each day I get new customers in and I get to catch up with many of my regulars. I need this exemption to continue growing and to continue to serve my customers to the best of my ability. Currently, I'm able to allow the testing of e-liquids and work on devices causing trouble. I'm able to demonstrate to new customers how to properly use their devices and help them if they are having issues learning to vape. Many of these devices have a learning curve, and not everyone can pick up a new device and set it up on their own. We show them the proper way to make sure they have the best possible experience. If we do not get this exemption, I will lose customers because they will not get the education and service they deserve. If sampling cannot be done in store, I will lose many customers and sales to online vendors, as being able to test the products is a huge reason my customers would choose to support a brick and mortar. Even though I do not entirely understand why the exemption cannot cover multi-unit buildings as well, I do feel I need this vote to maintain my business in Starkville, and hope you all can see how it would indeed affect how we operate and how it puts my business at risk. I hope to revisit this issue in the future with more documentation and studies that will help show you that Starkville could make a much more progressive approach as a whole to promoting vaping as a tool to help save lives. I again encourage you to stop by my store. Please, anytime, speak with me, speak with my customers, hear their stories, see what we do for them. Take the time to do the research for yourself. Check out the newest studies coming out. See how amazingly beneficial this can be. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor?
Vice Mayor, Board. My name is Mike Jeffcoat. I'm beginning to feel like a familiar face around here. I'd just like to ask for an exemption for the standalone businesses. I think it would only be fair to the business people like him. I myself would be interested in opening a business in Starkville. I own 3 shops myself. I have one in Richland, Mississippi, and one in Laurel, Mississippi. The ability for us, and I'm just going to pull one out here just for a visual for you. Some of these units are very high tech, okay? This is about a $500 instrument right here. These people that come in that need to know how to learn how to operate these things, they're basically computers, similar to a cell phone. There's a lot of programming, a lot of things that need to be done. We can customize these units to the preference of the person to make their experience and help get them off combustible tobacco. I would ask to put the exemption in section 3 where y'all have the hotels listed, the bed and breakfast listed, and private clubs listed. We're not, we understand the basis that y'all are afraid of the ventilation. All of my locations are in strip mall stores, and I am the hub store of these locations. Not just a little side store. My largest location is right at 2,600 square feet, and it is in prime real estate. I would just ask that y'all please take into consideration the ability of the customers that know they're going into these places to be able to go in there and have their stuff worked on, be able to do their testing, and be a viable business for people like him and myself. Thank you for your consideration and your time.
Thank you, Mr. Jeffcoat. Anyone else like to speak in favor of the indoor smoking exemption? Anyone? Anyone? Okay, I will close it as a public hearing. And we will move on to, under Mayor's business, we have consideration of a 6-month extension on the agreement for the sale of the lagoon located on Highway 12, on the Highway 12 bypass. Mr. Latimer has received a agreement that I think he is comfortable with, and you have provided it to the board. So does anyone have any questions at this point in time? Do we have a motion?
Move approval.
Alderman Little, thank you. Have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Alderman Carver. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. All right. The next item is code enforcement. It is consideration of Mississippi Code annotated tax parcel 101D-00-272, which is the Antioch Baptist Church located at 522 East Gillespie Street. It is to determine whether the property is in such a state of uncleanliness as to be a menace to the health, safety, and welfare of the municipality, whether to hold a public hearing pursuant to Mississippi Code annotated 21-1911 during its regular meeting on December the 7th. Mr. Sanders, oh, I'm sorry. Those are the pictures associated with the, no, that's the Second Baptist.
Wrong property.
First Baptist. Yes, First Baptist. Or, I'm sorry, Antioch, there we go, thank you.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, Aldermen, per your request, I am here to give you an update on the code enforcement investigation for Antioch Baptist Church located at 522 East Gillespie Street on parcel number 101D-00-272.00. In winter of 2016, the Community Development Director, the Code Enforcement Officer, met with the Antioch Baptist Church minister. The Antioch Baptist Church minister stated that she would try to work on improvements to improve the exterior and interior issues with the church. On October 17th of this year, the board asked staff to check on the structure of the west side of Gillespie Street and give a report at the new November 7th, 2017 Board of Aldermen meeting. On October the 18th, an investigation is completed by Code Enforcement, and the structure is found to be in violation of IMPC Code 2012, Section 304.1.1, Paragraph 8. On October the 19th, violation notice is issued. On October the 26th, a violation notice is returned due to no mail receptacle and unable to forward per the note on the return piece of mail. On October the 26th, 2017, the violation notice is posted at the front door. On November the 5th of 2017, there was a meeting with the church officials and also concerned citizens and city staff concerning the status of the church. And I also have a video of the conditions of the church that I will play for you.
Okay, is this interior, exterior, all exterior?
Exterior,
all
all
exterior.
exterior.
Okay.
There would be one on it.
I see an IT guy coming forward.
Good.
Assistance is on the way.
Right, are you going to play it over the PowerPoint? That's fine. Right there, guys. Answer your questions at this time.
Mayor, may I recognize?
Vice Mayor?
Mr. Sanders, you testified that this property is in violation of our city code pursuant to one of the code ordinances that you cited. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And you testified that you met with the officials at this church in the winter of 2016?
Yes, sir.
And that has been almost 1 year ago, correct?
Yes, sir.
Has any improvements taken place since that 1 year period of 2016, the winter?
Yes, sir.
You know, Mr. Sanders, I've looked at this video that you've shown us tonight, all the evidence that you have presented, and certainly I have received a number of complaints about this subject property, and this board through the years, and I've been here over 24 years now, has been very consistent in enforcing our laws and our ordinances, and we've been very consistent with our code applications. And it is my opinion in looking at this, and I visited this site, it's very recent, and this property is certainly in a very dilapidated state. And this mayor and board and city has taken very strenuous measures to improve the quality of life and appearance in our city. We certainly, in my opinion, Mr. Sanders, and to those members of this church, we cannot just sit idle and allow this dilapidated structure to remain as is. We're about the business of ensuring that beautification is a top priority. And given my experiences in dealing with these matters, Mr. Sanders, it appears that this property is in such a state of uncleanliness as to be a menace to the health, safety, and welfare of our city. And not only that, the city has expended, and the taxpayers, millions of dollars in this location, on the Russell Street improvement, all down the area where this church is located, and we're going to have to require this body to take immediate action to bring this church into in compliance with our city codes. It is very unfortunate that this is a house of God. I fully support churches. I stand by churches and want them to do their best. And of course, I believe in grace and mercy. But here, the time has expired. You met with the church officials over a year ago in the winter of 2016. I saw the picture. The roof is barely, the steeple is barely holding on. It is barely hanging on. It is about to fall off. All of that dilapidated structure in a house of God. People may say that I'm harsh, but I'm just doing my job. I'm doing my job. I'm going to be consistent. I may get criticized, but when I took the oath of office for this job back on the 6th day of July of 1993, I promised that I would uphold the laws of this state and of the United States of America, and likewise, I'm going to do it for the city of Starkville. So I'm going to be consistent. I'm not going to cut anybody any slack. If I'm consistent, I cannot be criticized wrongfully. This church certainly needs to correct this deficiency immediately, and certainly, in my opinion, God would not be pleased with the appearance of this property, a place of worship. Now, the minister has appealed to us that she needs some time. She indicates that she has a plan of action. I'm going to offer a motion in just a few minutes, Mayor, but before I offer that motion, I want to say that, this property is a mess. It is a real disgrace to the city of Starkville, Oktibbeha County, Mississippi. How in the world you going to let God's house get looking like this? We talk about, having church and doing what's decent and order. Let's make sure that we keep God's house and property looking like it should be. We want to worship there. Let's make sure that this looks like a place of worship. Just looks terrible, unsightly, unappealing, not aesthetically pleasing. It just looks awful, annoying, a nuisance. Now, the minister represented to this body, that Mayor, that she can get this property. She got a plan of action. And Mayor, I'm going to offer a motion. Now, I'm going to offer a motion, and the city attorney, and if I'm incorrect about this statutory citation, you let me know. But Mayor, I would really like to see this property cleaned up by the end of this year, because this mess does not need to carry over into 2018. Yes, I said that this messy structure that's about to, the steeple is about to fall off. Now, but I'm going to offer a motion. We'll give them 60 days. And I want this minister, Honorable Mayor and Board, and Mr. Sanders, that's why we want her address. I'd like for her to voluntarily come back to this board at our second meeting in January, on January the 16th of 2018. And Honorable City Clerk, I want this matter put on the agenda to get a report from the pastor of this church as to the bringing this property in compliance. Now, Mr. Sanders in this city has been so gracious. We have been just so patient, but we cannot continue to do this. We have other properties throughout this city where we're faced with decisions all the time, and we give this group an exception. Then other groups who are watching us will ask, well, you gave it to this group, why won't you give it to us? But if we apply the rule or law to everybody, then it's going to apply to everybody. So I'm trusting and hoping that this pastor will be back up here voluntarily, freely and willingly at our meeting at 5:30, not 5:31, at 5:30 p.m. Central Standard Time on the 16th day of January 2018. And Mr. Sanders, I'm hoping, Mayor and Board, I'm hoping that she and the members that they have, if any, Harley, will have this property cleaned up. We cannot allow this church to sit and be located and situated on this $1 million intersection. On the intersection of Gillespie Street and Spring Street. I have people throughout the city complain all the time. I drive out this intersection. I feel bad about it. I'm not even a member of the church. Terrible, pitiful, sad, ridiculous. It's a shame. It's a disgrace. Now we need to now we're trying to clean this town up. Now, it don't matter where you're located, my voice is the same. If you think I'm being hard on this church, you should have been here a few meetings ago when I was talking to another group. I don't care who you are, where you're located, whether you're in Ward 1, whether you're in Ward 2, whether you're in Ward 3, 4, 5, 6, or 7, my voice is going to be the same. If you had been here a few meetings ago, you would have heard me tell another group that we cannot do it because it violates the law. So, Mayor, with that being said, and we have the address of this pastor, and Mr. Sanders, we can get, if this pastor's address changed, I would like for her to voluntarily keep you and the mayor and the city clerk informed of her address change. We want to have her current phone number, and we want to report, we want to see about the willingness to get this property cleaned up. No, we're not going to allow this. We are working too hard. You just heard that we've spent $7.5 million on capital improvements. You know, these are taxpayers' funds, and we got to look at this and deal with this on a regular basis. This property has been like this for almost going on 2 years now. So, Mayor, with that being said, I'm going to offer a motion, and this site, Mr. Attorney, is consistent with the law that you're recommending, okay? And given that the property is out of compliance with city code, I move that pursuant to the city's authority to prevent, remove, and abate nuisances under Mississippi Code annotated Section 21-19-1, Appendix A, Article 3, Subsection F of City Code, and Sections 54-51 through 54-58 of City Code, that the city provides the Antioch Baptist Church with 60 days through and including January 7, 2018, to bring the building located at 522 East Gillespie Street, parcel number 101D-00-272.00 into complete, and I said complete compliance with city code, or face any and all potential remedies available to the city under state and or local law. And that is reduced to writing, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. I have that, Vice Mayor. I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second from Alderman Vaughn. Any further discussion? Any discussion? Pastor Carr, when you met with the board, with the development department a couple of days ago, did you have a timeline? In which to get, I mean, you have a plan of action, I believe. And what is your timeline on your plan of action? Okay, so you are pressing along with it before 60 days. Excellent. Okay, all right. Thank you, ma'am. Sorry. Any other discussion? Question? Okay, I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, next item on the agenda is consideration of Mississippi Code annotated 21-1911 of tax parcel 102B-000-323.00 Second Baptist Church at 314 Gate Street to determine whether the property is in such a state of uncleanliness as to be a menace to the health, safety, and welfare of the municipality. This is pretty much the same issue. Obviously, Pastor Stone is aware and has provided us that information. Mr. Sanders, are you ready with the, I see some more pictures?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Any questions of Mr. Sanders before he begins? Okay, thank you.
Just a brief history. As everyone knows, the subject property is 314 Yates Street, parcel 102B-00-323.00, pertaining to the Second Baptist Church. On September the 9th of 2014, conditional use CU 14-05 was approved by the Board of Aldermen. On October the 9th, 2014, the Development and Review Committee reviewed the Second Baptist site plan. On November the 20th, 2014, an erosion control permit was issued. March 9th, 2015, conditional use permit CU 14-05 expires. On September the 5th, 2015, a building permit is issued. On September the 5th of 2016, the building permit expires. On October the 19th, 2017, a violation notice was issued. On October the 24th, 2017, the violation notice was received. I have some pictures. And I also have a video.
Do you need Mr. Clements?
Let's see here.
Those are the plumbing pipes that we're looking at there?
That is correct.
When was this video taken, Mr. Sanders?
It was taken this afternoon around 2 o'clock.
Okay. Anything else, Mr. Sanders? Vice Mayor?
Mr. Sanders, you I think you testified that you took this video this afternoon prior to this meeting. You took that video?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
Yes, sir. I went by the subject site this morning before noon. Mr. Sanders, this church, Second Baptist Church, was issued, the building permit on about October 2015. Is that correct?
The building permit was paid for and issued on September the 5th of 2015.
And so work started shortly after the permit was issued, and it came to a halt pretty soon thereafter. Is that correct?
Yeah, that would be correct, yes, sir. Well, actually, work started as far as developing the site fairly shortly after. Erosion control permit was issued on November the 20th, 2014.
So there has been no construction at this location, to your knowledge, or any type of construction work since 2015?
That is correct.
And Mr. Sanders, what are the violations at this property?
That essentially the area that has been disturbed, the earth has been disturbed more than 14 days and has not been seeded.
And tell me specifically what the violation on the north side of the church, the side closest to the railroad track.
There is essentially any disturbed areas that will be left undisturbed for 14 days, 14 or more days shall be seeded, temporary seeding immediately. After final grading, all disturbed areas shall be seeded permanent seeding. So there's nothing holding the earth, but also it's a construction site that started and never finished. There's a safety issue with the trenchers and just the construction material just laying about. Also, there's overgrown vegetation surrounding the construction site.
Right, and that overgrown vegetation is on the rear, on the west side of the church, very tall vegetation, correct, Mr. Sanders?
Yes, sir, and also growing up into some of the rebar that was left on the site.
And not only that, on the west side of the church, there's a big, tall, high dirt pile, is that right?
Yes, sir.
And also on the west side of the church, near the property line, there's that big go box, whatever you call it, construction barrel, equipment, or material, something back there to that effect, right?
Yes, sir.
And on the north side of the church, you got all the pipes sticking out of the ground. Is that correct?
That would be construction material, yes, sir.
And the site that you just showed on the north side of the church has all perforated like some rows or mounds there on that north side close to the railroad track.
For the placement of the rebar for the foundation, yes, sir.
And all those things are in clear violation of our city code.
Since the permit has expired, yes, sir.
And after 180 days have expired from the date that the construction took place, then it is your opinion as our community development director that the construction site has been abandoned or vacated. Is that correct, Mr. Sanders? 180 days, I think that's in your materials. That's correct.
Every permit issue shall become invalid unless the work on the site authorized by such permit is commenced within 180 days after its issuance, or if the work authorized on the site such permit is suspended or abandoned for a period of 180 days after the work has commenced.
So that I was correct. So it's been 180 days.
Yes, sir.
So I've been knowing people go to this church for many of years, and I've gotten a lot of complaints about this property. And I'm just going to tell everybody who's tuning in here tonight that I'm going to make sure that I treat this parcel just like I do any other parcel. This track as it exists now is out of compliance with our city code, and that's is corroborated with your testimony, Mr. Sanders. This subject property looks very awful. It looks very unappealing. It is a very bad eyesore. It is not aesthetically pleasing. It looks terrible. It is just a real mess over there. This is not the Second Baptist that this community is used to. A lot of my friends who have gone on now, who are members of this church, if they were living, this mess wouldn't be there. Mayor, I want the order kept here while I'm talking.
Yes, please.
This has to be corrected immediately. We cannot stand to give an exemption to this church because it's Second Baptist. I'm really disappointed because the property looks like this. This property needs to look like what Second Baptist properties used to looking like. You know, it's just a community disgrace. You drive by there, the weeds are taller than almost look inside the window. The dirt mound behind the church, the go box behind the church. You go on the north side of the church, you saw the evidence up there, you saw the mounds all separated. You know, it's just all this perforate, all the pipes in the ground. It's been almost 2 years, well, it's been excessive 2 years, with no construction, and we got to enforce our city code, whether you like it or not. You know, I believe in grace and mercy, but grace has run out here. We got to clean this mess up at 314 Yates Street, Starkville, Mississippi, and I'm going to offer a motion to clean it up whether you like it or not. And there may be some who are tuning in tonight by Twitter, by Facebook, or whatever method you want to turn in. If you don't know who this voice is Alderman, Attorney, Vice Mayor Roy Perkins, and I'm going to enforce the law. That's what I was elected to do. And the mayor and all these department heads and these members of this board, they will tell you that I don't cut slack with anybody. I have done it with other churches. I'm going to do it for Second Baptist. I'm going to do it for Third Baptist. And don't let Mount Pillow come up here. I'm going to enforce it with Mount Pillow. That's the church where I go to. They better not violate the code. If they're tuning in, yes, I said that if Mount Pillow violates the code, they're not in violation to my knowledge, but they do. I'm going to enforce the law against them. At this mess over here at 314 Yates Street. Now, I read the Constitution of this, and I got a question I want to ask Mayor. I want to know, but yes, a yes, no answer. Mr. Harrison, will you come down here for just a minute? And the only thing I want to ask you is just you to respond to my question. I don't need you speaking to anything. Just respond to my question. Would you come down to the podium, please, sir? Are you the chairman, are you the current chairman of the trustee board at the Second Baptist Missionary Baptist Church at 314 Yates Street, Starkville, Mississippi?
Yes, sir, I am.
And are you all operating on a constitution that was approved by your church back on about July 8th of 2003?
Yes, sir.
And that constitution is still valid and binding based upon your knowledge and recollection?
Yes, sir, it is.
And that constitution requires the trustees to have full power and authority over the church property. Is that my understanding of the Constitution?
That is correct.
And that is found in Article 9 of your Constitution. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And that's about a 14 or 15 page document.
It is.
And it is the duty of the trustees of this church to ensure that the property is in good condition. Am I correct?
That is correct.
And that language is exactly in the Constitution that I just told you, correct?
That is correct.
And the trustees is charged with having to ensure that they have a full trust of all church property. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Harrison, you understand everything that I said tonight, right?
Yes, sir, I do.
Do you understand that I'm just talking individually, but it's it is my belief and my desire, and I'm going to offer this in motion, that this mess at 314 Yates Street needs to be cleaned up. You understand that?
Yes, sir, I do.
I'm not trying to demean you or anything, but I just want to make sure the chairman of the trustee board who's charged with this property understand this, what I'm saying.
Yes, sir, I do.
I hate this, Mr. Harrison, but I have a duty, and I did not ask for this to come down here. This matter found its way to come to us. We did not send for this. The violation is what brought it here. If this property had been cleaned up, then we wouldn't have to address this matter. There are sometimes matters that come down here, I don't necessarily want to have to deal with them, but when they come down here, I'm going to deal with them there effectively. So at the end of the day, when you leave here, you're going to know that the vice mayor, look, I just talked straight down the middle. So what I'm going to do, and we've heard the pastor speak, and I just want to make sure I got that right, because I'd done my homework before I got here. I just want to make sure I got you on the record to say that. And so I wasn't trying to single you out.
That's fine.
So, but this is a real disgrace for our city. I'm just embarrassed for Second Baptist. All of my great friends, Dr. Cunn and all those other people who've gone on, they wouldn't allow for this stuff to exist over here. We got to get Second Baptist property. That's all I'm concerned about now, our violation. You got to get back like it should be. So, Mr. Harrison, if you don't mind, you can return to your seat. And Mayor, may I offer a motion, please?
Yes, Vice Mayor.
And Mr. Harrison, one last thing, I'm going to offer this motion, and if the board approves it, I'm offering for 60 days, whoever else from the church can come back. The reason I'm talking to you right now, because under the church-approved constitution that I have read, the trustee is in charge of the property. So whoever want to come back, the pastor want to come back, whoever want to come back, but I want you back here too on January the 16th, 2018, regardless of what the status of things. I want you back up here and tell us the status of this. And the same thing goes to this Antioch Church. Now, when y'all come back on here January 16th, don't y'all come back asking us for no extension. I don't want to hear about nothing about no extension. I don't want to hear about no additional time. We got to clean this up. I hate this property of God's property is looking like this. God would not be pleased. We talk about death, burial, and resurrection every Sunday morning. We got to treat the property like it's what we worship and have and talk about a God of death, burial, and resurrection. We can't have this kind of mess here in the city. Got to clean this stuff up. We're going to keep this city clean. You excuse Ms. Harrison. Mayor, thank you. Mayor, given that the property is out of compliance with city code, I move that pursuant to the city's authority to prevent, remove, and abate nuisances under Mississippi Code annotated Section 2119.1, Appendix A, Article 3, subsection F of City Code, and Sections 54-51 through 54-58 of City Code, that the city provide the Second Baptist Church with 60 days through and including January 7, 2018, to bring the former construction area located at 3148 Yates Street, parcel number 102B-000-323.00 into complete compliance with city code, or face any and all potential remedies available to the city under state and or local law. The motion have reduced the right, Mayor.
Okay, I have a copy. Thank you, Vice Mayor. I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. Alderman. Okay, Alderman Walker. I'm sorry, I wasn't sure.
This can be asked to be recognized after this.
Oh, yes, okay. I have a motion and a second. Discussion. Alderman Carter.
First of all, I guess I would like to say thank you, Pastor Stone, for the presentation and all that you do in the community. Y'all are a vibrant and a growing church. I come through there on Sunday mornings and I see that the massive amounts of crowd and people, and I know that you're a vibrant church. And I thank you all that you do just for the work that y'all do on a daily basis. My thoughts on this, in total honesty, I wish it had never been brought to the public spectrum and brought out. I think this is maybe something that was ongoing litigation. I'm going to have a couple questions pertaining to that, but maybe this is not. I guess it's a sad day when we've been brought into a board meeting to discuss something with a church matter. Couple notes. Just remember that, with all due respect, I don't really feel like this is the matter of the last church we spoke about, because that is a dilapidated building. And I voted for the inspection and renovation of that church, or any kind of demolition. But with this, you got to realize that Second Baptist is a beautiful church. And remember, backing up further than that, the way I was taught and raised was that if something happens to the physical building, that y'all are actually the church. You know that. But your building, your actual building is great. This is outside the walls of your church. And so there's really a line, and this can maybe a question for the city attorney. It says in here, and this was a letter that we received, it says that Second Baptist Church and the possibility that additional evidence is on the site. Is anything we vote against tonight, can that be, is this something that we're covering up evidence or anything like that, if that would come in and flatten out that ground? And is that something that, I believe it's in about the third paragraph down, and this was the letter that we received tonight, so.
Alderman Carver, I really can't speculate as far as how that would affect their litigation. I know their litigation has been ongoing for a long time, and so I would think under the normal course of litigation, evidence is preserved through pictures and videos and things like that, and so I would doubt there would be any cover-up or spoliation issues. That's what it's called under the law when evidence gets covered up, is spoliation. But again, I can't speak to it definitively because I just don't know the ins and outs of their litigation.
Sure. I guess I'll just say in closing that I don't feel that the timing is right for this. I think this didn't have to be pushed tonight. It's not time sensitive from my opinion of any standpoint. But even with a 60-day extension, I don't know that any litigation is going to get solved within 60 days. So why not make that 180 or a greater number? I just know anytime you deal with litigation, anything I've been involved up here, that 60 days is in the blink of an eye, but this was not something that was time sensitive. I travel through there daily. I hate it for all parties involved, but I really don't think that it's my business at this point, so I won't be supporting this tonight, so thank you.
Okay, thank you. Alderman Walker?
Mr. Sanders, I just want to clarify that the extent of the code violation is due to the bare soil in the construction site. Is that clear? Is that correct?
That's correct. But there was also some overgrown weeds.
Some overgrown weeds. So in my mind, if the remediable action is just covering the bare soil with seed, that'll take root. It'll be there. If litigation, as that continues out, in my mind, I don't think you have to do anything with the trenchings that is there. You're just going to seed over the top of that. So when it becomes time for you to actually continue to build in your church, you come back, you get your new building permit. All you're doing is removing the grass that's grown over the seed, and you're ready to go. So I don't see this as being a hindrance to the long-term building process, because I'm as hopeful as any of you that y'all gonna get through this process, and you're going to expand your church, and you're going to continue to be the vibrant church that this community knows and knows that Second Baptist is. So I don't see this as any way to sort of hit the church when you're down. I see this as a way, you got bare soil out there, it's been that way for a while. We cover that soil, we keep that erosion from happening in the creek and the surroundings right there. And when your litigation's up and you all find a way to get out of this and you're ready to start construction, you're going to be ready to go. So to me, the simple solution is put some seed out over the bare soil, clean your weeds up, and you're going to be in compliance, and you're going to be good to go from the city standpoint.
Okay, any other, Alderman Miller?
To echo Alderman Walker, what about the go box? Would that need to be removed in the 60 days?
Yeah. A construction trailer is issued a permit for so many days for construction, and the construction permit has ended, so the construction trailer has to go, along with all construction materials.
Okay. Does that speak to the plumbing?
Formations, and if the plumbing is not being used for a specific purpose, it needs to be removed.
Removed or capped and covered?
I would say if it's not being used for anything, if it's not connecting, if it's not serving any purpose, it's no longer a construction site. So I would say that the piping would need to go.
Okay, do we have anything that says that? I mean, I'm just asking. I don't have the familiarity with the code that you do. So it would be all construction materials would need to be removed.
It's no longer a construction site, so construction materials need to be removed.
So that's a little different, Jason, than...
I think so, and I would say that we want to make sure that is in fact the case, and it may be another alternative might be to seed and then construction fencing around, because I think it would certainly be detrimental to the church if somebody were to come on that site and injure themselves. The church would absolutely be liable for those. So construction fencing around that, I think, is a way to preserve the construction. It's still a construction site. It's just not under the current permit because that's expired for obvious reasons of litigation. And so I think I agree with the Vice Mayor. I think there has been a long time. It's been almost 2 years, and there's really been no activity. At some point, we've got to make a decision on what to do. But I think it starts by just cleaning up your site, seeding the bare soil, and to me that gets you. We can see then in 60 days where you're going to be in compliance or not.
Any other comments, discussion?
Do a roll call vote?
Yes, I absolutely will. Okay, I have a motion. I have a second. All in favor, answer as the city clerk calls your name.
Alderman Carver.
Nay.
Alderman Sistrunk.
Yay.
Alderman Little.
Yay.
Alderman Walker.
Yay.
Alderman Miller.
Yay.
Vice Mayor Perkins.
Yay.
Alderman Vaughn.
Nay.
So was that a nay? Was it a nay? Two nays? Okay, we have, by vote count, it's 5 yeas and 2 nays. The yeas have it. The motion carries. All right, thank you all. Item number, remaining item on the agenda.
Mayor?
Yes.
Want to take a brief recess, let them clear out? A 5-minute recess, or?
If you would like, we could take a 5-minute recess and allow them to clear the room. Okay? We'll be back here at 7:15.
Can't be playing this high. But if you can stay with them and be in the game for fourth quarter.
I really don't. Thing that I honestly think we really do have to do, play our game, but I feel like every